All right, so I want to get credit where credit's due. A YouTuber called Shownuff sent me this by email. He subscribed to me evidently. All right, so it says, thanks, I appreciate you. Cheese, the GMO food die-hard GMO opponents love but don't want to label. Now, the reason why I got this article was because I had just did a video in regards to this, and this article even goes more into depth of what I was talking about. Now, John and Lean, the authors of this article, actually are sort of kind of ranting, venting, raging, upset about rules being broken in the GMO, non-GMO organic world, in the excuse world, in the excusing some but blocking others world. So let's hear what their complaints are. Vermont cheeses, okay? So I see that they're upset about that as well. Slammed by critics, Chipotle has been forced to backtrack on its non-GMO claims. Its beef, pork, and chicken are sourced from farm animals fed with GMO grain. And all of its calories, packed sodas, are sweetened with GMO sugar. But it has yet to come clean on its most controversial GMO ingredient. All of its cheese is genetically modified. That's right. The clotting agent used to curdle the milk into cheese is genetically engineered. Some of So much for Chipotle's bragging claim of transparency. In fact, almost all of the hard cheeses made in the United States and in much of the West use a protein that is made from genetically engineered yeast and bacteria. That includes cheeses in Vermont, which passed a mandatory GMO labeling bill in 2016 that curiously exempt its iconic Vermont cheese from carrying a GMO label. So much for the customer's right to know. Critics of GMOs almost never acknowledge the fact that almost all hard cheeses are GMOs. In cheese production, coagulants called rennets are used to clot milk. The primary enzyme in rennet driving the clotting process is called chymosin, which acts on milk proteins like casein and makes milk curdle. Traditionally, rennet is obtained from the fourth stomach lining of an unweaned calf. Calves have a higher amount of rennet in their stomachs compared to adults as they use it to digest milk, their main source of food. The rennet extracted from the stomach lining is usually a mixture of chymosin, pepsin, another enzyme, and other proteins. Rennet can only be obtained once from a single young animal. This makes it a costly necessity during cheese production. To make to make billions of pounds of cheese, industrial chemistry is needed to produce large quantities of rennet. Recently harvested calf stomachs are chopped up in masses and then chemically refined to produce rennet consisting of precise ratios of various enzymes, such as chymosin and pepsin, which are needed for a consistent cheese production. Beginning in the 1960s, the price of rennet, a byproduct of veal industry, rose and became less stable as the animal rights movement grew. Demand for cheese also soared, and cheese makers began looking for alternative sources of rennet from plants and microbes. Some plants and microbes naturally produce enzymes that have a coagulating property like rennet. However, rennet from these sources tend to produce other side reactions in cheese production, leading to undesirable results in taste, like bitterness. So, how did biotechnology come to play a role? Well, in 1982, Genentech earned approval from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration from the medical use of insulin produced by genetically modified microbes. It was more than a boom for medicine. It also showed that GMOs were a viable substitute for animals in the production of pure protein. In the late 1980s, scientists figured out how to transfer a single gene from bovine cells that codes the chromosomes into microbes, giving microbes the ability to produce chromosomes. These genetically modified microbes are allowed to multiply and cultivate in a fermentation process while they produce and release chromosome into the cultured liquid. The chromosome can then be separated and purified. Chromosome produced using this method is transferred or termed as fermentation. Produced chromosome or FPC. In 1990, the FDA approved Pfizer's GMO-derived chromosome by the Food and Drug Administration for human consumption on the basis that it was identical to the chromosome found in animal rennet, and FPC was given generally regarded as safe GRAS status. After 28 months of review, the FDA found that FPC was substantially equivalent to remnant produced from calves. Thus, it needed no special labeling or identification on its sources or method of production. The FPC is actually more pure than the calf rennet. Yeah, as it does not contain other proteins from the calf's stomach lining that cannot be separate from the calf rennet during production. Hmm. The real advantage is that it is probably a much cheaper way of producing this substance than to grow calves, says William Greig, an FDA employee. I hope y'all picking up the sarcasm here. Today, 90% of the cheese in the United States is made using FPC. 90%. In the past 2 decades, FPC has been considered the ideal milk clogging enzyme. The GMO-derived enzyme has been a boom for cheese manufacturing and cheese sales. The U.S. produced about 11 billion pounds of cheese in 2013 alone, thanks in large part to the cost effectiveness of FPC. The technology transformed the industry, making it more efficient, more environmentally friendly, and less dependent on animals. FPC has been regarded as a suitable for meeting vegetarian, kosher, and halal requirements. However, some vegetarians consider FPC to be derived from animals as the microbes were genetically modified using bovine genetic material. In response, scientists began synthesizing the gene needed to produce a synthetic form of FPC that does not have any genetic material from animals. All right, let me pause here. Me clear some stuff up. When the when the vegetarians decided to confront them with material that they found that there was genetically modified bovine in the food that they were producing for them, they decided, oh, let us clear that up. So as long as you don't know, but they know, and you don't look into what they're doing, for some reason, Congress, the FDA will allow these people to say something's not in there that's actually in there. So they're not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you. You literally have to say, I need to just deal with the basic. Can I get something that's just the basic? When you get a label and they got 9, 10, 15 things on there, run, as fast as you can. Can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread woman. You got to run as fast as you can, because at that point, they know when they say flavor. They know you're not going to look into it. When they talk about certain colors of dyes in food, you if it's not a natural apple that's red, don't eat it. If it's not a natural strawberry that's red, don't eat it. If it's not a natural beef red, don't eat it. Why? Because they put chemicals in stuff to make things look red, make things look orange. You got to know that you know that you know. Yes, in this game called life, it's truly a game. It's like Monopoly mixed with Roblox. Okay, it's like Monopoly mixed with Roblox. In Roblox, you can go from You start in the game, you get to running, you're butt naked, you ain't got no face, you ain't got nothing, and you just make yourself into what you want to make yourself into. You can be a rock punk star, you can be a little girl, you can be made like a big robot, you can be made like a little skinny somebody with a big head, you don't even have to have eyes, none of this. And you go from mall store to mall store to mall store. I have children. I've played this game with my children, and I'd be like, man, this is like they give you a time limit. They don't give you time to think. You got to hit it. And you're about to lose your mind because you only have like 5 or 6 minutes to get this world done, to get what you need before they start on another round. And then you get judged by what you did on that round. This is how it is in this game we play called life. It literally, buy it, consume it, consume it. And then you're trying to look at the label. Wait, let me see if I really want it. Let me see what's in it. Don't slow down to read nothing. That's not a requirement. Go. The FDA has already told you it's fine. Well, then, like Nancy Pelosi said, well, we'll know what's in it once we pass it. Once we pass this, then we'll go back and look at it. This is the kind of stuff we deal with here in America, where the leaders are obligated more to a system of debauchery, to the deluge of the Anunnaki, to the people who want you to stay wrapped up in pharmaceutical, they want you to stay wrapped up in the snake on the pole on the stick. Look up to the snake on the stick, because it's going to bless you. And why are they saying it's going to bless you? It's hitting your DNA with all kinds of markers and codes to mess you up, to dumb you down, to make you put your head in the sand, to make you put your head on the computer all day long instead of going outside, spending some time saying, I'm going to go within and deal with whatever issues I have. All right, let's continue. I just had to say something there. Okay, so where did I stop? Let's see here. Hopefully I did that one. Okay. GMO concerns about FPC are few compared to those directed at genetically modified crops. So they're saying that, some of these people getting away with it. Some folks, they compared to this, or compared to that, some folks don't get messed with and some people do. So anyway, it says recent campaigns in Vermont, a major cheese producing state that passed a GMO labeling law in 2016, did not address the use of FPC to make cheese. Dairy products were simply exempt. Do y'all hear that? They absolutely just exempt who they want to exempt from the process of verifying transparency. Okay? But the GMO people saying, hold up, wait a minute. FPC need to go through the same stuff we go through. We do not care if they Pfizer. We do not care if they're a conglomerate of a big corporation. Okay? Anyway, the Vermont law never took effect as it was eventually superseded by federal regulation. Now, if I read anything in this document and I did not say the right word and I didn't speak it eloquently, at the end of the day, y'all, this is my first time going through the whole document because Shona sent it to me and I finally got to it and I'm just reading it. I'm only a person out here just trying to inform myself. So you're getting to hear what I think and what I see. And a subscriber sent it to me. So if you need to be impressed, I don't know what to tell you. I don't want to laugh, but I don't know what to tell you because y'all know I don't make money off these videos. Y'all know I'm out here just trying to encourage myself first of all, and then maybe look over and encourage y'all a little bit. That's all, FPC is especially interesting for the divisive role it plays in contemporary debates over the safety of genetic engineering and the labeling of GMO foods. Should consumers be made aware of the fact that genetically modified microbes are in their cheeses? If so, how should they be made aware? It's not as though the cheese itself is genetically modified. Right, so that's how they play the game. The cheese doesn't have to be modified. The stuff that's put in the cheese is modified. I don't know, y'all, how they play with us like this, but this is what they do. Let me continue. Neither is the chromosin that produces the cheese, because the chromosin is a protein. Protein it contains no genetic material. Any genes found. Look, for me, the whole thing is man putting his hand into on a level of a laboratory, a scientific way. Not just on a farm way where somebody get an animal and they get milk and then they figure out, let me throw some salt on it, let me pump it, pump it, pump it, pump it, and it separates. Not that. These people saying, well, why can't everybody just do what they want to do? Pretty much that's what they're saying. Why some people getting away with some people not? This is what these people pretty much are saying. However, what I'm saying is, I would just say go back to the old way, because this is not some conscious moral thing for me where I'm crying because somebody eat meat. I don't eat meat. However, I do drink milk. I do eat cheese. I do. What else I do? Um, we dealing with cow right now. Yeah. However, I try to just go back, find as best I can possible. Look, even I have to shake my head at organic now. I have to literally just say, look, I'm just gonna have to spend extra money and go into another country, Ireland, go to some other country that have rules and regulations that says transparency 100%. They're done with this crap. And if I got to pay $10 for a block of cheese that's wrapped in some wax that says animal rennet and says raw and it says, I'll do that, because I'm not giving up my cheese. Because at the end of the day, whatever they doing, they doing. If y'all know what I'm saying. I can't prevent any animal really from perishing, because that's just the market. But what I can do is keep myself from perishing. And that's all I can do. Cheesemakers know this line of reasoning well. Hansen, a Danish company, manufacturer of some of the most popular brands of FPC in the world. The company describes its FPC as GMO free. Now, see, that's absolutely diabolical. It's like they're saying gain of function. When Anthony Fauci was saying gain of function. Well, what was the senator's name? Ron Paul was saying, aren't you doing gain of function? Aren't you doing gain of function with the vaccine thing? And Anthony Fauci, who's a Jesuit, and his role is to carry out diabolical stuff. So what else is he gonna do? He's a Jesuit. He's under the Pope, the one that says he's Christ, the one that says he's Jesus on earth. So anyway, you got to go through him to get to wherever you're gonna go once you leave here. But you're gonna be recycled, because going through him makes you recycled, reincarnated here back in the game. Okay. But anyway, so because that's where he gonna be. So because that's where his master is. So whose name is Inky, Sumerian god, which aren't gods. They're humanoids who GMO'd us, okay? But not from the original. They only GMO'd us just like they do with the cheese, okay? They're just going in, moving stuff, splicing the Jacob ladder, okay? Whew. Anyway, if you watch enough of my videos, you know what I'm talking about. So all of this really does fold into one another, the whole everything. And that's what I'm talking about. But let me move forward. Because purified FPC contains little no trace of genetically modified fungi, Aspergillus niger, thank you for that. Wow, interesting. That produces it. Because organic food cannot even be a byproduct of GMOs. Hansen states that if GMO-free FPC is not acceptable for organic cheese production, right? It's not right. FPCs are not acceptable for organic cheese production. It's not. But he's saying, well, they can get away with it similarly. Tillamook, an Oregon dairy-based dairy company, uses FPC for all 5 of its dozens of cheese varieties. Tillamook representatives recently stated on the company's blog that after purification, the FPC rennet produces does not contain any genetically modified material, since it no longer contains DNA from a cow gene. It is considered non-GMO by the U.S. Food industry standards. So yeah, Hanson's saying, look, um, they saying it's GMO free because they done did some little ducking and peeping and moving around and changing some stuff and spinning and dipping and dapping. And he said should not be because you can't label it organic. So if you can't label it organic, then what really is it? So we know it's not organic. It's not the original. We know it's being made to look like something else. It looks like that, but it's not that. It's a synthetic of the original. Now the original process taking a calf and the lining and using that lining to curd cheese is not the nicest process, but it's natural. And remember, I'm not about trying to judge somebody's heart or mind. I'm simply about saying, look, if you want your mind not to be dumbed down, so that maybe later on you might get off whatever you want to get off, whether it's meat or cheese or whatever you want to get off, fine. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm not advising anybody to starve themselves to death. But everything in this game has its living and moving and being. Everything in this game is an energy. Everything in this game is a energy. From a plant, from a cabbage, to a tree, to your tea, water, everything. Some stuff damage you and some stuff don't damage you because some things are in your flux, your frequency. It flows with you and some stuff don't. You got to know what flows with you, what doesn't flow with you. And I can't sit here and say FPCs made by Pfizer flow with me. All right, that's all I'm trying to say. So, but there is a huge hypocrisy by many anti-GMO campaigners who are quick to exempt their favorite cheeses from the dastardly GMO designation by target GMO sugars. Sugar made from GMO sugar beets is genetically indistinguishable from sugar derived from sugar beets. So they're saying there's sugar beets that are natural, but evidently they can't be labeled as organic, but the scientists go in there and make sugar beets genetically to look just like the strands of the okay, anyway. Or sugar cane that has not been genetically modified, but is labeled as GMO in many countries and demonized by activists. Yeah, a lot of stuff is demonized because it's a lot of technicality going on. A lot of technicalities going on. Cheese is a foodie favorite, so it is viewed differently. In other words, maybe an ambiguous product of genetic engineering, but it is 2 steps removed from the genetically modified organism responsible for its existence. Ooh. FPC is not allowed in organic cheese based on the certification rules in the United States, Canada, Europe, providing an option for consumers who wish to avoid FPC. Cheeses with FPC are also considered a GMO by the Non-GMO Project. Did y'all hear that? Cheeses with FPC, meaning Pfizer's cheeses, which is 90% on the market, are also considered genetically modified by the Non-GMO Project. So those folks who stand against GMOs say that FPC is a GMO. And this is what they're saying. That some people getting not even a pop on the hand. Some corporations are not even getting popped on the hand. I have to agree with them. All right, thanks for watching.